Hello everyone, this is Melissa. Welcome back to my channel here at Enchanted Emerald. Today we're doing a reading out of the Moonology deck, and this is August 1st, 2025. And what comes out for us today is this last quarter moon in Gemini, which is to clear your mind. When we're talking about the last quarter moons, we're talking about clearing out old energies and welcoming in new energies. So this is definitely a time of an ending and a beginning, and it is highlighted here with the operative word being fortitude, really feeling like you could be facing a lot of difficulty right now. And it's something that you've had to kind of take in stride, right? It requires a lot of courage and strength, and you have this authority that you're kind of channeling in order to get through that, right? I feel like you are in a space where we think about like the wind and resilience and the tree branches. They're bending, but they're not breaking. But I just get this sense with that resilience that you've built up over time. It's that you're just tired of having to be resilient, right? And it's perfectly valid to feel as though you are burnt out or feeling like you have a lot invested in overcoming so many obstacles, and it's just obstacle after obstacle or challenge after challenge. And so you're getting kind of tired of that, right? But I feel like this is an energy that it's transient and it comes and goes. And I know that recovering from those things seems a little bit more of a difficult thing for you as well, because they've just been so frequent. The challenges have kind of been so frequent, but I do feel like this is an energy that's going to end, right? I feel like you're entering a space, a new chapter where things will be a lot more peaceful. But I think that going through all of this, it's important to know that it's like a solitary type of journey, right? It's for you and you alone, and nobody can take this walk for you. They cannot walk your path for you. This is something that you have to do. Don't think though that you can't find people that are kind of going through some of the same thing. I think that you'll uncover new similarities as you lean on others for support, emotional support. And in those moments, it's like a sigh of relief almost, where you're like, oh, okay, I'm not the only one that's kind of going through some of these things. Sometimes when we're in it, we're really in it, and it does feel a little bit lonely, or it feels as though maybe you're the only person that's having to deal with some of those things, but that really isn't true. Looking at this card though, you can kind of notice here the different shapes, like a geometric type pattern that kind of unfolds there on that. And, you know, I feel like as you start to focus your energy, right, it will allow your vision to start to take shape or to unfold for you. So really, you'll be starting to see patterns in your life that have emerged for the better. I think that having learned from some of the things in the past, you're moving into a new space where things will start to feel like, oh, I got this. I've been through this before and it looks familiar and I'm able to get through that. But I feel like it's more like a confirmation though for you, where like you're understanding that this is about bringing balance into your life, right? Really outweighing some of those challenges and bringing into a space where there's as many good times as there are challenges, right? So really setting into a space where you're feeling like things are more evened out. And so in this space where you are healing from things from the past or some of these challenges, I do feel as though you could have a sense of remorse or sadness, right? Maybe even having some regrets about things that have transpired. But I feel like there's something that's going to come forward. Like it feels like a shocking revelation, like a truth that comes out, and you understand that you really didn't understand the gravity of the situation, and that you see though that history will start to repeat itself, right? And I don't necessarily feel as though that's for you. I feel like you have taken these lessons and these obstacles in stride, and I think that you're learning to do things better. And so your lessons will become a little less harsh, I guess, if you will. And so I think that history repeating itself is for someone in your environment, maybe this situation, or maybe someone that you're dealing with in a situation. I feel like that is for them, and you'll start to see how they're repeating things, or you might see how things are showing up for you, very similar to things from the past, but they're less intense because you're able to have a new perspective and operate from that new perspective. And so you're able to deal with things a little bit more effectively, right? I do feel like looking at your past, it's sitting in that space of that sadness and that remorse. It does not serve you, because you might come to this realization that there's nothing left for you in the past. And so you know that as we focus on things, that's where our intention and focus and energy will flow in that direction. And so we've got to be able to kind of pull ourselves out of that. Sure, take that lesson and move forward with that lesson and do things differently, but don't dwell on things from the past. There's nothing left for you there. You've gotten all that you can out of that situation. And I just get this sense with it, it's more like lesson learned, right? Like almost like you're washing your hands of it, like clapping. You know how they do this, like, I'm done kind of thing. I just get this like sense that there's a lesson learned for you. And so you'll be entering into some new territory. It will feel like unfamiliar territory, which will attest to the fact that you have learned those lessons, because now the universe is showing up for you with different things. And so it's something that you've never experienced before, or maybe you've never experienced anything like it before. And understanding that with all new beginnings, it doesn't necessarily mean that everything is roses. Not everything will come up roses, right? It's not for the faint of heart. Perhaps you could feel a little bit overwhelmed very easily throughout this. But understanding that there will be some challenges. Perhaps in the past, your challenges looked different. Perhaps there was a lot of quarreling and unpleasantries in that effect, like where you've had a lot of disagreements with someone. But moving into this new energy, it will be more, I feel like it's more a solo type journey, where you're moving into a space where you're challenging yourself, right? And it may not necessarily look like what you want it to look like, but you're still open to what is showing up, because as you work through some of that, again, the energy responds and brings new things in for you. So with this last quarter moon in Gemini, a place for you to kind of clear your mind, to almost like clear the plate, right? I just get the sense of like clearing the plate and allowing for new things to show up. Is a place that you could do that would be the ocean, which is a very healing place, of course. And when I think of the ocean, I think of just lots and lots of emotion and understanding the ebb and flow of life and of our emotions, right? So think about the ocean and the tides, and as one wave crashes ashore and dissipates, another is already formed and on its way. And so that is like a cycle, right? And it continually happens, almost like our seasons in our life, right? These things will continue to happen. And so it's this creation and then destruction. And so as things kind of fall away from the past and destruct, there is new things being created, and you are a beautiful co-creator with the universe as well. So be mindful as to what your thoughts and intentions are as you move through this energy. Just understanding just the sheer magnitude of how small we really are in comparison when we are at the ocean. Just thinking about that, right? How we are a lot more inspired to connect to something larger. Perhaps you are connecting into new energies where you're living more in purpose, moving through energies where you are living on purpose, living in your purpose, feeling fulfilled in terms of how you move through the world, right? So, yeah, I think that it's inspiring and rejuvenating, right? So that could definitely be a place where we could be spending this time right now. I think that, again, it's important here to remember that things will reverberate. So like the energy that you put out into the world, it is the energy that is then reflected back to you. So if you are sitting in a space where you're over analyzing the past and things like that, it's important to now let that go, because until you let that go, or until you shift your focus, until you gain new perspective and insights from those lessons as you process that, you'll be sitting in that space in between that new beginning and the ending. And it's kind of uncomfortable, honestly, to be sitting in that energy. And so shifting that focus into the new, right, is really important. As you do that, it will start to show up for you, right? So in the grand scheme of things, what you've been through the past, it's like a drop in the bucket, right? And it didn't really take a lot. I feel like it just didn't take a lot of emotional investment on your part. In fact, I think that as you got into that situation, you were already emotionally invested. That was already there. But this situation, of course, is still very close to your heart. And I think that that's what kind of muddies the waters in terms of getting clarity on that situation. And so you're identifying, or overly identifying, maybe with that situation or that person as being a source of happiness and fulfillment. But when you do that, or when you feel that way, it's almost in essence of like giving your power away, right? Because we all have this deep well within us, this energy of like large emotions, big emotions, right? Hope and faith and love. We all have that within us, and it's our job to refill that well, right? So as you tap into that well, draw on it as you need to, but then also make sure that you're doing things to refill that well, right? And we do that by doing things that make us happy, and it replenishes us, it nourishes our soul. And so as we are healing and moving through that, what's on the other side of that for us is we are entering into an energy of lightheartedness, right? And I'm seeing like the number 2 coming in with this. Of course, you can see on the card, it's a period of peace, right? Where things will come into balance for us. And I feel like it's a very tranquil energy where there's not much that can be done to kind of disturb you. Your calm is just, it's ingrained in your daily routine. It is your focus. It is your priority, right? And it's starting to calm a lot of that external noise, right? The best headspace to kind of get clear on what you want and what you want to bring in is in that clear mind, right? And so shifting our focus, and honestly feel like perhaps this is something that you're like known for. Perhaps you're known for kind of like going overboard or analyzing every detail, right? It's not necessarily a bad thing, because you're not averse to like hard work or being thorough as you work through things. It can be a very useful quality at times, but the key is to kind of rein it in and keep it under control, and not let things get to an obsessive level of thinking, right? And so as you kind of have gotten well known for having that need or desire to like analyze everything and make sure that you're thoroughly processing things, right? Perhaps others have come to appreciate that quality actually about you, and which is a great thing, because it requires a lot of viewpoints, like diverse viewpoints in the world, and a lot of cooperation to work together to achieve things. And so everybody will have a different viewpoint, and you'll have a different viewpoint to offer input to others, and really living an authentic life is essentially what that is. And so it's a valid input to kind of put into the discussion for you. So I intuitively feel like if you're into crystals, a crystal that would be really good for you at this time is this one right here. And this is a bumblebee jasper. You can actually see the yellow band. It looks, striped, banded, like a bumblebee. And so with this, I feel like when you are struggling, it would be a good time to kind of connect with this crystal. If you were to meditate, it's going to help you to accept the changes that are happening, and it's going to really work with your solar and sacral. And so those chakras are actually going to be very good for you to help to work through some of that. So it's going to ignite this strength and this courage that you need, and it will help you to embrace more of a positive outlook, particularly when there's this times of change. And I just feel like this closing of one chapter, beginning of another, it would be really good for that. Some may even see this more as a symbolic death and rebirth, right? Where as we leave something, it doesn't always necessarily go out quietly, I guess I want to say. And so moving into this new energy is going to come in a little bit more quietly, right? So it's almost as if you were not wanting the change or not desiring that change. And so, but that change was kind of forced upon you. I find that it's all purposeful. I do feel that it was all purposeful. And so as you calm your mind and get clear on what it is that you're now hoping to bring in, we can do that in connecting with joy, in connecting with that lightheartedness. So beautiful read here for us. I do so hope that it resonates for you. It's a little bit of a different read. I don't typically pull cards from the Moonology deck for readings. I think that's more like clarifier energy, but that's what I felt called to do. So that's what we did. And as always, if you know somebody that could benefit from hearing this message, please don't hesitate to share it with them. And as always, let me know in the comments below how this resonates for you, how things are playing out in your life. I'd love to hear about it. But I will be back, of course, with another read for you guys all again soon. Thank you so much for tuning in. Take care.